All right, yeah, I called the meeting to order at 6:04 PM. All right, yeah, Lindsay, can you please conduct the roll call?
Commissioner Klein,
Here.
Commissioner Sapahara,
Here.
Vice Chair Rocker,
Here. All right, so the first thing is the approval of minutes. Have any questions about the January January minutes?
I don't know.
Right, motion to approve.
Second.
okay, who was?
Or yeah, I put the motion to approve. the
Okay.
minutes, yeah.
I second.
Seconded.
Okay. Commissioner Klein,
Apparently.
Approves, yes.
Commissioner Sapahara,
Approve.
Vice Chair Rocker,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
All right, and then I think we also had the March minutes, so any questions on those? Like we didn't go over them this time.
Okay, so the first one we are done with January meeting. It's now we are doing March minutes.
Yeah, so like,
Okay.
we didn't do the January one last time, because I think there was some issue with them.
Right, the feedback.
Yeah, yeah, any questions on those? Motion to approve the March minutes.
I second that.
All right, yeah, we can do the roll call.
Commissioner Klein,
Approves.
Commissioner Sapahara,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rocker,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
And moving on to postponements, do we have any postponements? No. All right. All right, so now it's oral communication. Do we have any requests to speak?
We have no speakers, that's true.
All right. Cool. All right, and we have no old business, so we can move on to the first item of new business, which is the election of the chair and the vice chair.
Yep. Second that. I don't know if I need to second that.
No, I think it's just the declaration.
So, let me pull up. Just gonna very quickly go over responsibilities. And the dates of the mayor meeting.
I think last one.
You should.
Yeah. For like all the different folks.
Yeah.
So.
There we go. All right, so as chair, you'll work with me or whoever the new emergency coordinator will be to approve the meeting agendas. I try and do that at least 2 weeks in advance of the meeting so that we can get everything ironed out with plenty of time. You attend the mayor's commission meetings. Those are every month. From 5 to 6:30. Quinlan. I believe he was social. Or Cupertino room. And these are the upcoming. Mayor mission meetings. Any questions about this? So the way it works is, if someone would like to nominate anyone for chair, we would then have a motion and a second to approve that nomination. Vote. And then do it again for vice chair. Am I missing anything? Oh, yeah, public comment before the vote.
I'd like to make a motion then to nominate you to be chair.
Yeah, I second that.
All right, Appreciate it.
Do you accept the nomination?
yeah, I accept said nomination.
Go to public comment. Vote.
Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
Commissioner Sophomore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rahar,
Yeah,
the motion carries unanimously.
And now we do it again for vice chair.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to nominate myself as the vice chair. Oh, sorry.
I'll second.
Oh, there you go. I thought that's what we are saying. Glenn.
Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
Commissioner Sophomore,
Yes.
Chair Rahar,
Yes,
motion carries unanimously.
And good news, this is the one commission post-election where we don't have to move to seat.
That's right.
Next, we have the presentation on preventing AI related. Presentation. And just let me know when you want me to advance.
Okay, well, good evening. Congratulations, Chair, Vice Chair. Captain Neil Valenzuela, Sheriff's Office, and I'm going to turn it over actually to Detective William Battaglia, who's going to go over some AI related cybercrime issues that was requested by the commission last meeting. So turn it over to Detective Battaglia.
Right, thank you. It's an honor to be here talking about this topic with you guys as it's now an emerging threat vector that our residents are going to be facing more and more. If you could advance it, there is some animation to it, so you might have to go through about 4 clicks before it's done. Let's see here. So anyways, today's topics of discussion, it's going to be the context of the scale of cybercrime as it stands now, types of crime vectors that we're seeing with AI, evolution of the vectors through AI, and what can be done. Advance to the next slide. So this is just a yearly comparison. The first one is going to be fiscal year of 24 through 25. Reported losses of about 1.6 billion. That's nationwide. 4 primary vectors that we are seeing. Those are usually the types of scams that you'll see. About 60 and up is the average age that we were seeing back then for the scam vectors. And the average loss per victim was about $19,000, roughly. For 25 through 26 fiscal year, the reported losses are about 20.9 billion. Some estimates are about 21. The 4 primary vectors begin to evolve, adding new nuance to the type of scams that you're seeing. So old scams become newer and more refined. The over 60 population is still targeted, but it's now expanded to include 50 and up. And the average loss raised to about 20 to 21,000. Now, moving into the impact locally, in California alone, the projected losses for fiscal year 25 through 26 is about 1.2 to 3.6 billion, with the average loss standing around 26,000 to 27,000, give or take. As of March 2026, losses are trending towards 18.1 billion fiscally for this year in California alone. And the drastic increase is due to the successful impact of AI tools and how these scammers are utilizing them against our residents. So the common types of scams or vectors that you'll see are investment fraud, too good to be true investments and business opportunities, business email compromise, where criminals insert themselves into legitimate business dealings and siphon money away. Usually through some kind of level of compromised computer. Sometimes it's seems benign and then accelerates to a full-blown scam. Romance scams where the victim's convinced that they are in a digital relationship with the criminal and they leverage that relationship and attention that they give to the victim to obtain money. And they sometimes dovetail that into investment scams as well. They'll claim that I have a relative or a friend that does this. And then it kind of blossoms into the too good to be true investment scam and the compounding effect of this person will give me their affection and attention if I continue to do this investment because it's for both of us. Courier scams, they pose as some form of entity, sometimes it's law enforcement, federal or local. And they arrange a pickup of money from the victim. They tend to use, as we've seen in recent investigations from last year, they use Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash drivers to facilitate the pickup, removing the criminal to a certain degree, making it more difficult to prosecute. So the unknowing pickup driver is picking up a package. The instructions are from the scammer to both driver and victim. Don't talk to each other, just hand it off and let them drive. Then they arrange a pickup at another location and then they then receive the package there. So it's really difficult. And sometimes it's a multi-city thing. You can have it here in Cupertino, Saratoga, Los Altos Hills, and the drop-off point is in Sacramento. So it makes it a big challenge for us in law enforcement to continue to trail them with our resources as it stands.
Question.
Yeah.
The
Of course.
courier you said is unknowing.
Lately, it's unknowing. As of
Can you, would you be able to give like a specific, I can't imagine.
So, perfect example was last year, we had a elderly couple, in their eighties. They had been contacted, it was, several vectors that they got hit with, which was the compromised computer. Unknown how it was compromised, but it was compromised. They posed as a legitimate, business, for like HP
Yeah.
or Best Buy. Hey, your computer's compromised, you need to talk to Microsoft. And then Microsoft goes, hey, we're getting alerted by IRS that you owe money. It gets bounced to someone who now poses as IRS. And they say, hey, we need to secure your money. Let's pull it out of your bank account. You send it to us, we'll put it into a safe account. At some unknown time, we'll release it back to you, but this is so that they can't, the offenders can't get a hold of your money and compromise your accounts further.
Right.
And they sometimes use screen mirroring or remote viewing on the computer. Quietly sit there and watch them as they work on their bank accounts. So, and they are aware of the possibility of IP tracing and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So they will not, even when they see the bank account, they get under the hood and they see what's going on. They won't necessarily do anything because they don't want to link their IP to it. So, Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, of course. And then obviously cryptocurrency, it's used in tandem with the other two hands. It's the rate of return that really is emphasized and it's used more increasingly every day because of its decentralized nature and the offenders know that it's more difficult to track. Sometimes it requires certain tracing software to really start following where the money goes. Now, the evolution through AI, the offenders are currently using AI generated text to create fake social media accounts, conduct spear phishing, and further their financial fraud that they do. It refines the text in a way, as the second point talks about, where they tidy up grammatical errors. As Americans, we speak a certain way, we know to look for certain things. This allows someone that would be considered on the lower end of the scale, that wouldn't necessarily be able to pull off scams of this nature where people are losing large sums of money. This allows them to tidy it up, clean it up, and tighten it up enough where they can bypass your average person's ability to detect, hey, this is a misspelled word, this punctuation doesn't belong here, or certain phrases that we use here in this country that they wouldn't necessarily be aware of. AI generated images enable them to basically create photos at will. For the romance scams, that's big. They can create documents that mimic both local and federal law enforcement documents so that it aids to the credibility of their scheme that they're going to do. The tools that they use, they love to focus on government personnel, banking representatives, and celebrities. There's a lot of people that believe Elon Musk is currently having them move money around for him. So you see that commonly in what's called the money mules, where they unknowingly work at the behest of the offender. There's also AI generated audio, which can imitate prominent figures or clone the victim's voice. So I usually tell people, if you think you're dealing with an automated thing where someone calls you on the phone that you have never heard from before, but they claim to be a government entity, don't say words like yes, because if they can get that, some banking institutions use the vocal fingerprint and biometrics that way to then affect their schemes and what they're going to do. And then now AI generated video is adding to that because it allows them to add a lifelike figure in front of them. There is AI imagery that can overlay a physical person with whatever image they're trying to present to the victim. So it helps further their schemes and really prove to the victim, gain their trust that, hey, I am talking to a real person. And then, of course, AI, as it stands right now, increases its knowledge and capabilities by a factor of 4.5 times annually versus human intelligence, which doubles, I believe, if I remember correctly, every 4 to 6 years. So the average human intelligence doubles 4 to 6 years. AI annually, it's 4.5 times every year. And it compounds year after year after year. Now, what can be done? Most people, we try to tell them to look for subtle imperfections in the video. There will be part of what they call artifacting, where things just don't line up. Audio might be desynced from, the talking person that they see if it's in video. The photos, look for extra digits or fine details that would normally be caught on camera, but now end up smudged or distorted in some strange way. I think we've all seen that in crummy AI photos that our friends have sent us. You definitely want to limit what information you share on social media and about yourself, because they will use programs to scrape that data. If government banking organizations try to contact you, you want to collect caller's information and then independently verify it. So if I receive a call from someone claiming to be from Wells Fargo saying my account's compromised, I'm going to want to hang up, call the bank myself, go in person. Your card, if they're saying, hey, your credit, look at the back of your card, it's got a number that you call. That is the most secure number you can call, because they can use similar to like Zoom to create the appearance. It's called spoofing. They'll spoof the number and they will show the number that's on the back of your card, but you're interacting with the scam. And a lot of people are falling for that. So don't click any links or scan QR codes. Again, this is like for the businesses, you do not want to scan a QR code if they're saying, hey, this investment opportunity has a Bitcoin thing involved or Ethereum. Scanning that could actually introduce malware into your Android or iPhone. We've been seeing Android and iPhone, both are getting hit with it. So iPhone used to be the gold standard. There is still some level of ability of offenders to compromise those devices. So it's just good practice not to scan those. And then obviously don't send money, gift cards, or cryptocurrency to people you've never met or have only met over the phone or online. Law enforcement will never ask for those items. We definitely don't need gift cards. My rule of thumb is if it wasn't done in the 50s, it hasn't changed in that regard. We're not going to suddenly need Target gift cards to pay off a warrant. And so we kind of stress that to people. When in doubt, slow down, because they want to get you off balance and get your emotions engaged. The offender wants your emotions engaged where you make snap decisions. I'd say 90% of the time, when our victims have taken a moment to sit there and really think about what they've just done, they start to realize, wait a minute, something doesn't isn't sitting right with this, something's off. And then they start looking into it and realize, oh no, I've been a victim of a scam. And then the last point is regardless of whether they've been scammed, we encourage victims to report immediately to us and the FBI via their IC3 website that handles internet crimes. More points of contact are always best for the investigations, and especially when it comes to these kind of crimes, time is usually of the essence because of the nature of your offenders to be completely anonymous. The closer we get to it, the actual time of the event, the better chance we have to do anything. And it's kind of a stigma. A lot of people don't want to talk about being scammed, but it's one of those things that the more people talk about it and normalize it and say, hey, this is what I experienced, it's like a hive mind. It expands out, everyone starts learning, hey, this is what to look out for.
Thank you. Yeah, great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had one quick question
Of course.
too. So like, I think when we were talking about the California stats,
Yeah,
is it actually like, it was 3.6 billion last year and it's 18 billion?
it's accelerating. If you go to the FBI's website, they usually, IC3 will put out their statistics. It's trending that way right now. Obviously, something can change. But as it stands, the rate, and that's usually combining crypto theft with your courier scams and telephone market, the telemarketer scams and stuff like that. You have a family member that is in trouble in another country, they need to wire money. They're basically adding those all together, but with AI, especially because the offenders are over the phone, they're just enhancing it, and it's more what would be considered offenders that weren't savvy enough to reach the general public. With AI, they can do that.
Mhm.
They can query it and actually raise itself up and give them that opening to go after more.
And I will add that it's probably very highly underreported because our elderly communities, and we did this when we stopped there. We had our presentation to stop senior scams. We've encountered numerous people who just feel embarrassed about reporting this and their loss, their financial loss. So it's probably underestimated.
Very true.
Yeah.
So even with like, if we assume that like the percentage of people who are embarrassed to report is like roughly the same from like last year to this year. So even with all that baked in, it's still like a 4 to 5x
Yeah.
increase in just 1 year.
Especially with the prevalence of AI and how fine tuned it's getting. My experience with seeing how the AI engines have been operating from 2 years ago to compared to today, it's night and day difference. So you're seeing a lot more capabilities. And even the videos are really starting to get in there. There's still some people that say, oh, well, put something in front of your face to see if it would disrupt the AI, but there are AI programs that and these operations aren't usually just a single actor. Sometimes there's a lot of people involved. They have access to funds to pay for the higher end stuff that putting your hand in front of your face or having them put something in front of their face that would disturb the AI generated video. It doesn't necessarily catch because it's a higher end version that's, Hollywood starting to use these things.
Mhm.
And every year with it improving at a rate of 4.5 times every year, it just gets better and better and better.
And that reminds me, I recently gave one online proctor exam. So they ask you to show the surroundings, so show your different angles of the face to
Exactly.
make sure it is you.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, and you have to really put a lot of effort into looking into it and being cautious. And the best practice is to always suspect that it's a scam until you verify that it's not.
Mhm.
That's the best practice. But there's a lot of people, especially in the elderly community, and those who are in their 50s, they're getting to that point where the world is vastly different than what it was. And the way the scammers are coming at you now, it's not just a couple that you get or the random callers that you get at dinner time. It's now you're getting bombarded with numerous attempts, and sometimes it's the same group, sometimes it's not. So, and a lot of your people that get scammed, especially with the romance ones, it happens over and over again. They'll say, "Hey, I'm never gonna fall for that again," and then just they fall for it again. We have several victims that are at least 4 or 5 times they've been victimized, and they fall for it every time. And we do our best to try to head that off and then teach them, hey, this is how you can protect yourself. But sometimes they're, whatever that group is doing, they know exactly what buttons to push to get that person to comply with the scan. So.
Interesting.
So how often these presentations are going to the senior committee?
The Stop Senior Scams, we hold them every, they're periodically, it's basically through our reserve, unit. And, we've had a couple here at the Quinlan Center, but they move around. They've done some over at the senior center in Saratoga. They've done some in San, they just did one at the library in San Jose, downtown San Jose. So they just kind of move around. They try to educate everybody. Education is our best tool right now. Try to get family aware of these scams. Sometimes the victims themselves are to the point where they're a little too trustworthy, unfortunately. So
And again, it's that they feed on the good nature of our citizens.
I think one of you guys was in contact with our reserve, right, for Stop Senior Scam. I can't remember who was, somebody was in contact. Was it I don't know, somebody was in contact.
I was asking you about.
Yeah, will you talk to Robert Yee? Is that who you talked to, or?
No, I didn't.
No, okay. Yeah, there was somebody who had emailed them, and he had mentioned to me that somebody from the Public Safety Commission had emailed them. That's why. Or maybe, I don't know if you guys did or not, so.
Yeah, I did not send an email, but I was asking you about.
Yeah, I can look at next time we have. We've had good presentation, good show out in the last.
Yeah,
couple
maybe if
times.
you can share the presentation, maybe we can circulate among the.
Yeah, I've asked for the presentation, but it's more of a interactive presentation where they have to participate with it. It's more Q&A kind of thing, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Any other questions for Detective Battaglia?
One more question. Yeah, so I'm curious if you have numbers based on county, Santa Clara County versus other counties.
I could try to reach out to the FBI and see if they have anything.
Oh, it's
They're
FBI.
They're the ones who compiled a very heavy
Yeah.
amount of the data, especially for the national and then for state. They may be able to tell me like what the statistics are for here. I can tell you from my experience. I was fortunate enough last year to go train with Secret Service on crypto tracing, and I have anywhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 cases and of crypto theft, and some are as high as 5 million, some 7 million. And the downside is in those instances, they like to add time because the further from the point of incident, usually the rule of thumb is 3 days, and it goes about 85% chance that something can be interrupted on day one, then somewhere in the 20s, day two, and you're in the single digits by day three. And then after that, it's really, you gotta hope that you get lucky and trace it down. And they use a lot of layering and obfuscation to try to throw law enforcement off. Nice thing about crypto is it's all a public record. Think of it as a digital bank ledger. And so everything's fairly accurate, but then these individuals are usually right now in countries that don't have what are called MLATs, which is an extradition ability for us to go and actually take action. So the trick is to try to trace it as fast as you can. And with a little luck, maybe you find a wallet that has some of the money sitting there, and you're able to do something and at least freeze it.
Yeah.
California is not up to speed with asset forfeiture when it comes to cryptocurrency right now. Seems like Florida, once it's isolated, frozen, they say, hey, you need to show up for court. If you don't, it goes directly to the victim or the victims that have been identified. But they demand you be in person, no video calling. So it's a little bit more beneficial to the victims in that regard. Whereas here, a lot of it, you can freeze it, but then it's stuck there until something changes. So, but a lot of the cases, obviously, they realize too late that, hey, this is what happened. We do our best to try to trace it, and the software that allows us to do it is great. It's very expensive. So you get a free trial to use and get trained on it. You use it as much as you can, but again, the success rate's usually very low. So think of it as a needle in a haystack of needles. Yeah. Yes,
Clarification.
of course.
I see three.
Yes.
You said .com, it's .gov.
Usually it's .gov, but let me double check. I want to
I
make
should
sure.
also check. I was just.
Yeah, IC3 is the best way to look them up. Yeah, it'll be .gov.
Okay.
But it allows, citizens to basically report a crime, as well as add their case number if they report it locally. Their viewpoint is multiple points of contact on a case might result in something positive. The other thing is they recently have started to make because wire fraud is starting to make a resurgence with these AI tools and, digital scams, that they now have a unit dedicated to wire fraud. And they have some kind of mechanism that they have on their end, that if it's reported to IC3 soon enough, they can interrupt the wire transfer. So, and that's a big thing, but obviously it comes down to getting the public knowing that they can do that. And then them realizing it is a scam. And that's always the trick, is trying to see through it enough to go, oh no, I've been scammed. So.
Yeah, just like a couple more questions. So one is like, is there information on like when, for example, like the impersonation scams, like the romance scams, like are these happening on like
Daily basis.
or daily basis, but like in terms of the platforms that they're happening on, is this happening like mostly over?
Every single platform you can think of, it's happening.
Uh,
They to use a movie reference, as I commonly do, it's like in the Green Mile. They're killing them with their kindness and their love. That's what they're aiming for. These people, they don't have a moral compass when they target our citizens, and they will abuse the fact that maybe someone is lonely, maybe someone is looking for some form of community, and they will use that as the leverage point. And it's almost like Pavlov's dog. You utilize that enough, and the person will eventually start to convince themselves, no, this is normal. This is normal. I get attention when I interact. Oh, they want me to invest. Oh, then I'll invest a little bit. And before they know it, they might, small amounts, couple $1,000 here, couple hundred there, adds up. I know someone that actually works in law enforcement, had an agency in California who was scammed in a romance scam out of $30,000 over the course of a year and a half.
Small increments.
Exactly. Not enough where, and they were using rudimentary AI. That individual showed me it, and I looked at it and I could pick out the little things as an observer looking in and not having an emotional attachment. I could see where the errors were and then realize, okay, this is a scam. So, yeah.
and also like it seems kind of like in the like what can be done slide, right? Like a
Mhm.
lot of the different guidance, like it seems like a lot of the stuff on there, like if you just follow the trend, for example, the things like look out for like certain deficiencies or like
Exactly.
things that are slightly odd about it. It seems like in the limit, like those things actually won't even be necessarily useful, right?
There's still, as it stands right now, I haven't seen anything that doesn't have a tell.
Yeah,
But again, it's being aware that those are tells to look for. And like the last line of it is slow it down. They really want to get you in the moment going because you're off balance. You yield to your emotions and let your emotions carry the day. And then when you get your wits about you and hold on, wait a minute, I was getting either panicked or rushed. Then you realize that you've already walked into the trap and it's been sprung, and you've lost money to these offenders. So
mhm. So would you say like maybe like the best advice to circulate or to spread would kind of be like if something is like deviating from like average,
Yeah.
course of events or life, then like it's most likely.
if it seems to be a shot out of the blue,
Mhm.
it's probably a scam.
Okay,
I mean, I haven't had a bank call me to tell me, hey, we need you to move all of your money now to some unknown institution or account, or have some guy come pick it up at my house.
Mhm.
It's just something out of the blue should immediately trigger a response. But of course, they get you on the emotional thing. Hey, your accounts are linked to some kind of crime. They do like to use the Megan's Law website to scrape photos and data. In one particular case, without giving any details, one of the documents actually referenced financial crimes, but when you read, take your time and as an observer, you have no emotional attachment, you're not panicked or anything like that. Look at it, every single person is from the Megan's Law site. So it's got their photos, and that is a completely different crime than financial crime, but it looked, with the aid of AI tools, it looked official, like it was from the federal government. But when you look at it, one of the pictures actually was an individual that we ended up arresting last year. And I'm looking at him going, I know who that individual is, dealt with him in person. This is not a legitimate document. So, but it's that level AI, you have to be able to have to take that, and it's hard to, it's very hard to, but I think the best way to approach this is kind of cycle the message over and over and hammer it home, because it'll stay in the consciousness more. And again, it's highly underreported. So it definitely needs to be, we have to encourage people, don't be embarrassed, because we won't be able to alert people of new trends if, it never comes to light because that person was embarrassed. No fault of their own, but just to get past that, to be brave enough to make that step, that will help too.
So the right way to think about like the IC3 website is almost one, but for cybercrime,
Well,
or is it something?
we still encourage people to call
Yeah.
us. They can use an event number from our sheriff's office, but that's an additional step. Yeah.
I see.
And of course, the FBI, they have limited resources as well.
Yeah,
And they're handling all 50 states.
Right.
And so it's one of those ones where we still say, report it to us, but also report it there, because if, for example, is crypto crime, if one of the wallets is being traced and the FBI is already aware of it, it's a point of contact. It's an attribution that says, oh, wait a minute, I've seen this in another case. And that might allow them to pivot from what they're doing to make that more of a priority when they already swamped with cases. So, but also doing it locally helps because the case number is documented, and potentially in some cases, if it's a courier scam, sometimes we get a chance to intercept. I think we've had success earlier this year with one of them. Our headquarters division managed to do that. But again, it's reporting it to us, especially if they're embarrassed, getting past that embarrassment and being brave enough to say, hey, this is what happened to me. And then pushing forward from there.
Any other questions for Detective Battaglia?
I think we're all
Thank you very much.
Well,
Very
pleasure.
good.
Too long, no, we're time.
It's quite all right. I can talk forever on this.
Oh, yeah, any public comment on this topic?
No speakers.
All right, okay.
Thank you, Detective. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Bill. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Here in Santa Clara County, we have Santa Clara County.
Right. Good evening. Walking around, there was a request that we talk about, Genesis, Tech and Alert SEC. There's a certain amount of, just, misunderstanding or maybe just not enough information out there that I've been able to capture and understand that, basically they are complementary tools. When I was putting this presentation together, one of the things that was actually kind of a fortunate discovery, and one that I wasn't surprised of, is that all this information actually does exist, and it exists mostly in videos and other types of things. So I thought one of the most effective ways to share that was to basically go through and show you some short videos, consolidate it down, and then we could talk afterwards about specifically when each would be most appropriate to use during an incident, and potentially what you might be getting from them. So And then there are a couple of things that I can show you to try to create a very clear understanding or distinction in addition to try to support any initiatives or any efforts that might be done this fire season to help understand what it is that they need to do and where the value is. So with that, I'll back up because I neglected to introduce myself. I know you know me, but Hector Estrada, I'm the Assistant Chief of Fire Prevention and also the Cupertino Liaison with County Fire. Genesis, Protect and Alert SCC. Alert SCC is one of the, is a tool that is basically provided through the county. And then Genesis Protect is actually through an app that you can download on your smartphone. So let's talk about wildfire evacuation and knowing your zone.
Here in Santa Clara County, we have an evacuation plan that works. Law enforcement and fire department personnel work together to determine what areas need to be evacuated.
Genesis EVAC allows us to quickly make these decisions and provide a live, detailed map to the public.
Alert SCC allows us to notify everyone when these evacuations are underway.
For our homes immediately threatening Canyon Vista Drive, we'll be setting up Stevens IC. Evacuation orders for zones 1, 2, and evacuation warning for zone 3. Warning for Cupertino 29.
Command 72 copies, evacuation order for Cupertino E017B Bravo and Cupertino E032, and evacuation warning for Cupertino E029.
Life safety is our #1 priority during an active wildfire. Law enforcement will manage traffic to get the residents out so our firefighters can get in to control the fire. We're well trained, equipped, and prepared to respond to complex emergencies and safely evacuate residents if necessary. To ensure you're prepared, we're asking you to do 2 things.
First, sign up for Alert SCC to receive emergency alerts in Santa Clara County.
Second, know your zone. Visit protect.genesis.com to identify the zone where you live.
So you can see the teamwork between sheriff's office or law enforcement, fire, and Office of Emergency Management. Basically create the framework for you to be able to get certain types of information from each one of these tools. And one of the things I will point out and show you is some of the things that you actually can receive in addition. So there's a component of situational awareness that's already baked into these. So if you understand where to look, you might even be able to see potential roadblocks or shut down roads that you might have thought were a good evacuation option, but as an event starts to unfold and you know there's threat, you can take a quick look and geolocate, identify the zone, or if you happen to be visiting an area. So if you know that you're here at the Quinlan Center, you're in Cupertino 011, so 11, and it'll show you where you are. So it'll allow you to see if there's any active threat or if there's any active warnings or evacuation orders that might be pending. So next, let's talk about the specifics of Genesis Protect.
Santa Clara County Fire is excited to announce that Genesis Protect is now newly available in South Santa Clara County.
So these are the
This means residents in this area can now benefit from the same reliable, real-time alerts that have been helping keep the community safe in other jurisdictions served by county fire. So no matter where you are in our service area, Genesis Protect and County Fire have got you covered. With Genesis Protect, staying informed has never been easier. There's no need to create an account or sign in. Simply visit protect.genesis.com on your web browser to access all the information that you need. And for even more convenience, you can download the Genesis Protect app on your Android or iOS device. The app provides specific push notifications for areas that you select or for your current location using geofencing technology. Now that you know how Genesis Protect can keep you safe, let's dive into how easy it is to use on the web. The Santa Clara County Fire Service Area is divided into zones, each labeled with letters and numbers. These zones help us communicate emergency statuses clearly, so you can always know if a protective action is needed in your area. Just visit protect.genesis.com and share your location to see what's happening around you. Or use the search function to check on specific addresses like your child's school or a relative's workplace.
You could save multiple addresses and get
To
that.
get started with the Genesis Protect mobile application, simply download it from the App Store on your iOS or Android device. Once you've installed the app, open it up and take a moment to read through the welcome screens. These screens will guide you through the basics of using Genesis Protect. As you set up the app, you'll need to enable a few important permissions, such as allowing notifications and critical alerts. You'll also be asked to share your location, and you can choose whether you want to share your specific location or just a general area. Remember, the more information that you share, the more accurate and relevant your alerts for protective actions will be. The Genesis Protect mobile app also allows you to input specific addresses that matter to you, such as your workplace, your child's school, or a friend's house. Once you've added these locations to the app, you'll receive alerts if any protective actions are issued for those areas. This is in addition to the alerts you'll receive based on your device's current location, ensuring you stay informed about all the places that matter to you and to your loved ones. Thank you so much for watching. Remember that Santa Clara County Fire is committed to your safety and well-being. By staying informed and utilizing Genesis Protect, we can all work together to keep our community safe and prepared.
So, for this, one of the things that I tried to point out was if you see in the video, both of them actually show you the incident commander. That would be the person that is the battalion chief who sets up the incident command. Might have engines, company officers and crews out there working on setting up the fire. The way that the incident usually rolls out is first on scene was set up, really the command structure. They'll give a size up. This is where they tell you what kind of fire it is, the location, what kind of fuel is burning, how fast is it moving? Is it wind driven? Is it topography driven? Are there structures involved or are there structures threatened? And what is this fire potentially going to be doing in the next few minutes? And then they will call for resources. So this is actually the information that you need to know whether you're actually truly in threat. So you are getting the notification and information and whether it applies to you from the person who's actually running this call. And that's the thing, and it's coming straight from them. So it goes into the system, the notifications are put in, and then it basically comes straight to you as an individual. So there is really no middleman. And so this is the unique component. So if there is in the timeline of an event, the freshest, fastest information that's relevant for the people, and this is a really sharp point as far as these people in particular, residents, this is the value of Genesis Protect, and this is where the information is coming from. This is why this particular tool is very relevant, very early in the incident. So the other thing is that it's specific to you. Everything that you use, just like if you were shopping at the grocery store, it tells you what aisle you're in, where to find the mayonnaise. Well, this will tell you exactly where you are and where to find the incident. You can also hold up our location. You can see it has our GeoSpot, and anything that would be relevant to us would be something that you basically have the ability to be informed about. I saved my house, and it not only gives me the weather, I don't know why it does that, but it's good if it gets its red flag warnings and other things. But I looked at it and I noticed that there's actually a road closure about 5 miles from my house. So if I was planning on going in that one direction, that actually would be something that I would want to know in advance. So this is the type of information that you can get, and it'll always be at your disposal. So the way I would recommend using that would be, if an event were to, if you had red flag warning and you knew that you were going to be in an area that might be at higher risk if you're in the hillsides, taking a close look at the roads. that morning or right around that time frame, if you knew that we were running into 5 or 6 days of very hot weather in a row with no real recovery because it was still 80 degrees or 70 degrees at night. Those are the types of situational awareness cues that you'd be thinking about. And those are the things that we as government resources and servants could help provide information for the community or residents. And then alert SCC. Where does that fit in?
The most important thing during a large disaster, a large wildfire, is for the public to be informed so that they can make the right decisions. So we are going to work to get that information to the public as quickly as possible, but we can only do that if people have registered for Alert SCC. Alert SCC is the communication system that's used in Santa Clara County for all agencies to get information to the public, irrespective of where they are. During a large wildfire, we're going to communicate with you using both low-tech and high-tech tools. So low-tech, the sheriff's office, law enforcement will be driving door-to-door if necessary, using loudspeakers to notify the public. We'll also be using high-tech tools like emergency alerts sent directly to your mobile devices. And we'll also be using technology to make calls to your traditional landline telephone, in addition to posting things via social media and via our website.
We start evacuation warnings immediately through Alert SCC. One of the first actions we're taking to try to get residents out of the way of a rapidly expanding wildfire.
To sign up for Alert SCC, residents can go to alertscc.com. There, they'll be asked for some basic contact information, and they can then select how they would like to receive those messages from the fire department, the police department, and other agencies.
One quick correction, the web page is now alertscc.org, not .com.
Oh, so, thank you. The information that's coming in, and as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, the information, some of it is actually either Genesis, but it's also coming effectively from the Fanner Fire Department as they push information out. So it will get pushed through from the OEC to, or OEM to, into Alert SCC. This is a more curated and more specific message that is actually time relevant. It'll be specific to, it can be used for things like, there are going to be evacuation shelters in these locations. There are going to be support services. There's going to be, this, and as an incident unfolds, whatever the next necessary and relevant component, this is where you'll be getting information like Alert SCC. You'll still get some types of updates as the zone conditions change, or if an evacuation warning turns into an order. Those types of things will still be shown or pushed through Genesis, but those you'll also now become informed pretty close to the same time from both, and getting more enhanced information that might be the result of basically an emergency operations center being stood up, finding out where Red Cross, other types of shelter or support services for elderly, horses and animals, things like that. And that information will start coming through, and you'll be directed to look for that kind of support. So for the long run and for comprehensive needs, or much more comprehensive needs, you'll be looking at getting info from Alert SCC. So with that, Alert SCC, subscriber, you have to subscribe. It does send you the notification from government and EOCs. There's countywide coverage, and this is, once again, information that will last throughout the incident into basically repopulation and even maybe additional support as needed. Genesis Protect, much more on the smartphone profile or platform, where you'll be able to do exactly what you do as if you were going to get some kind of interesting tool or game that you want. So that look and feel is going to be just like what everybody is already used to. It'll be pushing information to you. You just have to have your settings right. And it enables you to look for more than one area. So your kids' schools, your parents, elderly or friends and family that you care about. So you actually can create your own version of coverage, turn it on, and allow it to get a hold of you, and then basically you can say, where am I? I want to use it here or everywhere that I care about. So
Questions, just to confirm. So the Genesis, it's also an active system like Alert SCC, where it's going to generate, if you have the settings set up, you said, right?
yes.
So you can, okay,
And so, the information initially in that's not being, evaluated and the decisions that are being made for evacuation are being made by the incident commander, and that's why I'm saying this particular tool is very useful. And you will also see that as a zone changes, even when it comes to administrative changes, you'll see those types of things, like a zone was updated, or I just got one the other day. Notification. So you'll know that it's kind of like getting pinged. I'm still here. So it's kind of nice to see some of those things come in, but it is not, in any way, onerous or really intrusive. They're very conservative about what they do and how they do it. And, everything that I've ever received, either as a resident or as a fire professional, has been completely appropriate, and we do. Well, now I want to tell you how we're doing. So Cupertino numbers. I just got a fresh version of the numbers, and our numbers are still pretty low when it comes to Alert SEC. Because I don't have the Genesis numbers, because as far as an app, I'm still trying to figure out how to get those for our population. That is just Cupertino specific. But if you're getting one, you should always get the other. He's just in, and she's gonna talk about these because I think these are great. But my recommendation, or my thought was, we have a number. And if we were to say, let's set ourselves a goal as a community, and then we work towards creating some kind of game plan. This would be a very valuable thing to have. This has been a very unusual year, especially with the little heat wave we had so early on. People were starting to get very concerned. And then we have rain. This is basically have a double spring or double growth. So the vegetation gets a little bit more dense. And then now we're getting into what looks like it's going to be transitioning into actual fire season. So we just declared it at County Fire this week. So as we prepare, and we also know that we are going well into fall now with fire season, to get this number up at all of the normal events. So we can just use those as a force multiplier to make sure that we have some kind of great message, and then not just to tell people, but to actually help them download and register. If the walkaway goal is +1, we got one more person, then that I think is a winning strategy, because this number has not moved. These applications and opted services have been available for several years. Our numbers are unfortunately very low. So we just also went through the map, or the WUI map hazard classifications, the LRA map adoption process. We have a lot more of them. If it comes down to it, this is actually one of the best and most meaningful ways to help people really prepare for something, as opposed to speculating about something that might happen. This is to deal with, this is a solution that's already in place, and it's to deal with what is happening. This is not a maybe, this is not an if, this is an absolute that is available today, and for people to ignore it is or be unaware of it or fail to act on it is it's a bit of an exposure for us all. And I don't know that there's any solution when it comes to this is a technology-based solution. We are in a technology-based world. It is 2026. So there really isn't an answer for somebody who refuses to get a device. That's just it. There is no answer for them, because you can't go to every door for every person who is unable or is not. So that's where the family comes in. And I think the messaging of, somebody like this, then help us or help them get to a point, or watch out for them. And you put their zone in and you monitor it for them, if this is the case. I would do that for my parents, my grandparents, my friends, people that I knew couldn't do it, and this is the thing that I think from a sense of community and neighborhood. These are the types of. Those that are technologically either incapable or unable to use the tools that do exist. Any questions?
I have a question on the zone. So let's say something is happening within the zone. So entire zone will be alerted saying that, okay, do not go to this area. There is an active issue, or like entire zone has to be vacated, even if it's partially within the zone.
So if the zone gets created as an evacuation zone, you're already gonna have things in place that are basically, one of the components of an evacuation is to deny entry. So there should be already some kind of plan to keep people from coming in, but you will actually see it. Alert SEC does it do a geo? Okay, so in Alert SEC, it knows where you are. So if you share your location, you'll get the location so that if you're driving down the road, you'll see might be driving into an area that you should avoid. Yeah, and there are those, they're really designed for tourists, transient visitors. Everyone else, I went to a class a little bit ago about evacuation. It was taught by some folks from Colorado, and they were talking about a huge event that lasted several days. As it played out, it was actually a time when there were a lot of people from out of town, and that was actually one of the tools that they spoke to. That made a huge difference because it alerted everyone, and once again, it was where it needed. Direct people that needed to hear it at the right time.
Yeah, I think it's important that we increase the awareness. Very useful information. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I hope the videos summed it up, because when I saw them, I thought to myself, I can't talk better than that.
Great.
Thank you.
Public comment?
Yeah, any public comment on this topic?
We have no speakers, Chair. I'm gonna go into what the city has been doing. Jared, do you want to go before me or after?
I can go after.
So I'm gonna go over some of the materials we've been creating. Yeah. I'm absolutely not encouraging inner city competition, but Los Gatos has the highest alert numbers at 29% of the population. We're at 14%. I'm not saying it's a win or lose thing. I'm just saying that I know the emergency manager of Los Gatos. I would like to brag. Anyway, so we've gone 2 different routes with promotion of Alert SCC. The digital one is the sort of traditional route that we use for most promotion. Our main newsletters, the city manager's weekly letter to council, we've been including information about Alert SCC and Genesis there. The city manager's newsletter, that used to be items of interest and the Cupertino CC Weekly, something like that. The names have been changing, but that's a bi-weekly thing that comes out from the city, sort of highlighting what each department is doing. In that, we've been including promotions for Alert SEC and Genesis, and then the volunteer newsletters as well. We've also been using the digital signage. So in the library, right, we have something up on the screens. In city facilities, we have material up on the screen, and then so this is the first one of a couple handouts, and I have these for you. So this was created last year, 2 years ago. Just a little business card size thing. It's focused on alert SCC. And our hope is to have these so that people can pass out at city facilities, but then also as commissioners handing them out. And having just the QR code and the quick code. And then on the other side, explaining a little bit more about what alert SCC is. These were handed out at Earth and Arbor Day. This was one of the most popular things at the OEM table for Earth and Arbor Day. We have them available at city facilities. And I've been handing them out for block leaders and at neighborhood watch presentations. As you notice, it is looking at alert SCC only. So we now have this one. This one is the larger card, which is promoting both and explaining a little bit more how they work together. And then one of the things that we noticed when we were talking about Genesis, we were saying, okay, evacuation advisory, warning, order. We know what that means in emergency management and fire and sheriff because we hear those all the time and realizing, oh yeah, not everyone knows the difference between an advisory, a warning, or an order. So including that information just to really address the fact that there is jargon. And we do tend to use it and we need to educate people so that we're not just getting blank stares when we're saying, oh, there's a warning. So I'll also note in the warning section, right, threat to life and property, those needing extra time should leave. That means different things for different people. If you have a pet, if someone has difficulty with mobility, anything, I always joke, do you have a toddler? Congrats, you need extra time, right? 3-year-olds can get pretty cranky when you tell them to get in the car and they don't want to, right? So a lot of people don't see themselves as needing extra time. No, I'm able-bodied, I'm fine. If you have dogs, cats, kids, large family, anything that you're thinking it's an extra 5 minutes to get out of the house, you are covered under needing extra time. So these actually came today, which is why the slide says that they're currently being printed. I already have them available at City Hall and Community Hall. Tomorrow I'll be taking them to the other city facilities. And we're gonna have them at as many events, as many volunteer events, volunteer trainings, city events as we can to get the word out there. Now, these are the ones provided by the county. Again, only focused on alert SCC. The major benefit of these is they're multilingual. So we have these available in English, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese, and simple Chinese characters. It'll have one language on one side, another language on the other. These languages are chosen because they're what we call threshold languages in the county. So a certain population number has one of these languages as a main language or primary language. These are at the Cupertino Library because it's a county facility. And this is something that the county is promoting a lot more, whereas the city is switching more to this dual-sided one. So, what can you do? I have a bunch of the cards. You can take as many as you want, pass them out, take photos, scan them, post them to social media or group chats. You are able to speak at council meetings during oral communications. You do have to, I don't know if you've watched council meetings recently, but we do have a couple commissioners who will come up and say, I'm on this commission, I'm speaking on behalf of myself, and then go into whatever they're talking about. You do have to do that. unless you vote to, what is it, make an official recommendation to council? I'm not really sure. We'll double check with the clerk. But if you want to send something to council as the commission, that is something that we can work on. And you can also speak at other commission or committee meetings. TIC is what is it, Technology, Information and Communications Commission, they're tech. They should be talking about this app. The Library Commission, any of the commissions, you know, you hear the oral communications spiel all the time, right? That it's anything that isn't on the agenda. So you can come up, you can come, show up for 5 minutes, let people know about this. But just keeping in mind, right, that there's influence that you have as residents and commissioners that I don't necessarily have as a city employee. Partially because I'm not a Cupertino resident, right? So I can't speak to people quite on the same level. But if you want more of either of the cards, just let me know. We're able to get them printed a lot faster than I thought they were. And we do have the funding for that. I want to be really clear. This is not something where it's, oh, well, you know, we're printing as much as, no. We have funding from council to promote both Alert SCC and Genesis. We can print more cards if you need them. And that is it from me, but Chair, I know you also put a bit together. Let me pull that up.
Thing on Saturday. City Hall, no? I'm just saying, like, can I take some of these to bring?
Yeah.
To the booth? Maybe there for that one? Saturday. Yeah. Somebody let me. The API Multicultural Festival.
Yes. Yeah, just some like ideas that I think can pair really nicely with some of the stuff that's been prepared here. Basically just ideas for vectors, share and promote the great materials. Yeah, we can advance the slide. Yeah, so like one thought, this is obviously like further down the calendar, but I was like basically looking into, you know, at what point are people like most receptive to new information and like new routines and stuff. So certainly I think like around the time when people are preparing for like the start of the school year, like we should, you know, ask the school districts and stuff to see if they can spread the word about Alert SEC, because I think students, families will be like, you know, in that mode before they just like enter the trenches and like lock in for the semester. But yeah, so I think that's one avenue that we can hit. Like I'm guessing we can also like take a stack of these flyers and like put it in the office and stuff like that. Yeah, next one. Yeah, so another kind of moment where people I think are like receptive to information about safety in particular is like again when they're with their like family or children at like parks and trails. So like I've definitely seen people like just like stand next to the bulletin board in front of like a trailhead and just like stare and then like continue on their way. So it's like that's one vector I think that we can take advantage of. Certainly parks when they're with their children, stuff like that. It's another avenue I think, like even like maybe we personally can just like put stuff up. I'm not sure if there's like rules surrounding that.
I think
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I think there should be one more. I think that's the end of it. Yeah, one more. So yeah, thinking that we can definitely on the same lines of like you know, leveraging people who have like more trust among their communities, we can definitely reach out to block leaders, see if they can also hand out, if they can maybe come to City Hall and pick up some flyers, if they can maybe maybe like some friendly kind of like polling and tracking among their communities to see if they can, see like, hey, see if we can get to 95% enrollment by the end of the month, type thing. Yeah, I think these are like three interesting vectors that we can target beyond the ones that are already, I think, being covered.
Yeah, if I may add, I think I did send this email to Martha on March, some of the other suggestions. This is like, first of all, I think this is great, right? I mean, this is too small for my eyes. I don't know if it's my ears, right? And I feel the bigger banner or poster will be more beneficial because like a couple of months back when I did go to library to just look for alert SEC, that was like not very user friendly. That's what I felt. So again, the high traffic places, if you can print a bigger banner, right? I mean, maybe double the size of A4 or something. Because otherwise, with another 30, 40 of information cards, this gets lost. Even at library, I do stay, right? Because I'm curious to see what's happening in the community, but there's too much information. Like there are like 20 or 30 different cards or something. So I strongly recommend a larger banner or if possible, right? Especially when we have funds. And the high traffic areas that I sent in the recommendation are, this Queen Community Center and the senior center, library, the sports center, city hall lobby. These are some of the areas that I think this large banner can be useful.
And when it comes to like the different spots, is it like we should basically go and put it there, or is it something that like?
So for city facilities, I'll be the one.
Okay, understood. Okay. Makes sense. All right. Sounds good.
Do we have, is there any sort of poster? I know there's a poster at the corner, Memorial Park. Is there some sort of poster that advertises, talks about Genesis and or SCC?
I don't
The
think
city
there's
has.
anything.
That would be a great spot, I would
Yeah.
say, right on Stevens Creek there.
I think like whatever the high traffic, I also really like the trial entrance, right? Any trial, even though I keep visiting, I always look, okay, what's happening, right?
Exactly.
I stayed it. I think that's very good high traffic area. And I think Martha's presentation also has very good suggestions, right? I think definitely talking in city council meeting and the TICC committee just to spread the awareness, right? Especially because we have so low on numbers. And I would really like to see if we can make some progress on the official recommendation to the council for some of these ideas. I mean, we can speak in the city council meeting, but if we can, as a commission, right? Maybe in your next meeting, the mayor and the commissioner, city council, we can send an official communication saying that this is what really public safety commission want to recommend. This is a high priority that the fellow commissioners, I mean, as a commission, we are
Yeah.
recommending.
For sure. Yeah. So I guess
So if you can find out the process, like.
So I guess in the like mayor's meeting, like we definitely would talk about like, yeah, we're trying to like spread the word about this. There, like maybe I'll bring like a stack of flyers to like hand out to folks there. And then I guess like when it comes to the like what actually would go within a official recommendation to city council, it's like what would we be recommending them to do exactly?
So I'm trying to remember, I know that planning commission issued a recommendation recently about increasing the notifications area for their projects. And that was the chair spoke at a council meeting and said the planning commission officially advises council to do XYZ. In this case, it might look like the public commission is recommending that council take time to promote alert SCC and Genesis.
In a large banner in these high traffic places. Little elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some sense, we already kind of maybe have the authority and scope for that. It's.
Yeah. I think we need to make it really official recommendation because otherwise it's like I mean, with so many other priorities that city council is having, this may not be priority for them, you know.
Recently, all the city council members went through a search.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
Oh, what was part of that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm already member. I think you are also member, right?
I'm with CARES.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. Um. That's. All right, yeah, I think we have a plan here. So I think in the mayor's meeting, like I'll basically bring up this information, talk to the mayor about like, you know, can alert us if we get some more FaceTime, and then we can figure out like how to basically recommend the entirety of council to
I think that may be Martha's action item, I suppose, to find the official recommendation channel. So I think before you meet the city council, if you can send that official communication, maybe they will have heads up, if possible.
Or would it be an email or, I mean, I guess like, I think you mentioned that we would have to basically go to city council and speak at oral communications, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, so we're here with the city clerk. Okay, you can vote to have the chair email the council on behalf of the commission or speak at a council representing the commission. And that would be speaking under oral communications.
okay,
So
Alright,
if you wanna vote now,
yeah,
we would have to work out the language a little bit.
sure.
But then we can,
All right, yeah, so I guess motion to have me email city council about dedicating some efforts to spreading the word on Alert SSC and Genesis.
I want to amend it a bit,
Sure.
right? Be more specific, like large banners in the high traffic areas that we discussed. So let's be more specific.
so the recommendation to council would not be the operational with the banners and things like that, that's staff. The recommendations you can make to council are, we want this to become more of a priority.
Okay,
Rather than we want these specific operational things to happen.
so if we send this to be priority and city council says, yes, this is a good priority item, then it translates to the action items to the staff.
Council directs the city manager who directs staff.
Okay. So this has to be, okay, I'm fine with that, thank you. Okay, and so I second that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if. Have language. The public safety commission, or the planning unit.
I'd have to go back into the minutes,
Okay,
but
from memory, it was, well, the chair, remember the first name, I don't remember who else. Casultron. What she said was, speaking on behalf of the planning commission, our recommendation was this. So if we want to
Got
start with that, if we want to start with that, as language.
All right, do we need to do a vote on that motion or? I think we do. right?
Yeah.
yes. Okay, Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sapahara,
Yes.
Chair Rara,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
So I want to go back to this topic because I didn't get a chance to talk. So is it possible or how?
Or I think vice chair wants to speak on something that we passed in the agenda.
Which?
The item
report.
4.
The
Yeah,
AI related.
related scams.
So that item is closed. We can reopen it, vote to reopen it.
Yeah.
I would recommend finishing this.
The rest of the topics? Sure.
All right, yeah, do that. Any, is public comment on alert SCC promotion?
We have no speakers, Chair.
Right, and any final comments? This matter. All right, yeah, we're good to go.
Okay. So, we'll need a motion to reopen, item 4.
All right, yeah. Yeah, motion to reopen item 4.
Okay, and a second.
A second.
Yep, thank you.
Alright. Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sagamore,
Yes.
Chair Lama,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
Yeah, can I go ahead? Okay. Yeah, I think during last meeting, we talked about how do we advance the scam and fraud prevention, especially for the seniors? How do we officially recommend this as priority? I mean, I did reach out to you. I want to understand if we can include that as another item that commission formally recommends to the council as a priority item. Like increasing, so some of the ideas I sent in the email are increasing the community education events. I mean, I only sent it to you, Martha. I didn't send it to the commissioners, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I don't know if I need to go through all the some of the items, but I have some suggestions on how do we increase the awareness or increase the frequency of the education events.
Yeah, so the direction that I received from the deputy city manager is that we are not going to step on the sheriff's office's toes. We will support the work of the sheriff's office, but the city is not going to duplicate efforts and hold our own events. Because we at the city, we don't have the expertise, we don't have the knowledge. So if you would like to request that the sheriff's office put more events on or something, that's a possibility. But the city will not be taking the lead on this topic because the sheriff's office has the knowledge and the experience.
Any recommendation?
Go ahead.
Any recommendation from the sheriff?
We're, our detective and he's a reserve officer, so he's actually volunteer, is doing a lot of his time, dedicating a lot of his time to it. He's done several here in Cupertino, like I said, in Saratoga. He's all over the county, so it is a very passionate subject for this individual. He's a reserve detective with us, so I'm not sure how much more I can make him do. I think he's done 2, the last couple months here, so. He's getting good size of people coming in, but to be honest, sometimes it's the same group of people that keep coming into some of these events, so.
So how can we publish, like, let's say next one is happening in, let's say Palo Alto, how do we publicize that? So.
I can ask, we publish it through our social media aspects and stuff like that. We do publish them, but we're more dedicated also to our elderly community, so we do stuff like the forum and other places where we target our elderly community to come out and attend these. So that's like same thing we did in Saratoga. We did it at the retirement home near Allendale at the senior center there. So, I mean, if you have any other ideas for us to push out, but I think we were doing a pretty good advertising it. Other than, I mean, we'd have to get more people in there, but sometimes people are busy during certain times. So
Maybe like, given that like the sheriff's office is like, doing their part, like maybe we could just do like the official recommendation to city council, right? And it's like, we wouldn't be mandating, I mean, we don't have the ability to mandate any like operational thing, but it's like, if it's an official recommendation, then I guess council can kind of like chew on it,
Providing additional funding.
figure out
that helps.
what to do, right?
what was that, sorry?
Or providing additional funding if that helps.
We're in the middle of a sheriff's office contract negotiations. I don't know if we want to provide any more additional funding right now. But, maybe I think revisiting this after July might be a better option right now, just because right now our focus dedication right now is with the sheriff's contract. And I know I'm not trying to diminish this importance, but our guys are doing what they can. It's just the priority right now for the city and for the sheriff's office to come with an agreement that they can both agree with financially. Because right now it's in limbo, whether we're gonna be your police department come July. So.
I think maybe we can add it to the future agenda item.
Yeah, we can add it to a future agenda item, and yeah, I guess like for us just making a official recommendation to the council to like. Hey, like this is based on what we heard from the detective, like this is a like
Very important.
absolutely insane trend line.
4.5%.
And it seems like resources are still like a bit, tied up and stuff, so deferring to the council for further ideas, but this is our recommendation kind of. I think that would be like a fair
Yeah.
thing to do.
Another motion?
Oh, yeah, I guess, I guess you can make the motion. Okay.
Second,
Second,
Okay.
Who made the original motion?
Ravi, Vice Chair.
So we'll take it to a vote. Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sapararo.
Yes.
Chair Rahner,
yes,
the motion carries unanimously.
In addition to that, like I also recommended putting a scam prevention tips, maybe similar cards. So any thought or feedback we received on that, Martha?
that's again, sheriff's office.
Oh, okay, everything is sheriff's office, okay.
So you're following the lead of the sheriff's office.
Okay.
I could try to see if we could, I know we had some flyers and we do put out some stuff on social media, regarding it. Again, more targeted towards our elderly retirement home areas. Quite honestly, I think the target audience, and maybe this is a mission for you guys, is people who have elderly parents to try to get more involved with their elderly parents and try to be more involved in their financial decisions, because that's sometimes what probably could help a lot of this. You have, children live in different states or different areas and their parents live here and they're not too involved in their financial situations, but I think that's sometimes a disconnect because, I don't have access to my mom's account, but if she became victim of a scam, I definitely would at that point in time sort of monitor her a little more closely, but yeah, we can always come up with I think we have handouts and lots of stuff to prevent victimization. So we do have all that stuff that we can bring to all these community events that we come up with. So and neighborhood watch meetings as well too. So
Excellent. I think if we can get either hard copies or soft copies.
Sure.
that would be-
yeah, I can bring some of our handouts next time at the next meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, that's pretty much that.
all right, cool, I guess we can move to item 7. The updates from fire and sheriff's office.
I can go first. Mine's really quick. So. Fortunately, a lot of our, I think we reported back in January, and then the other that we switched to a new RMS system, a new record management system, which is really making it really complicated to get a lot of information. And I think last time we were here, we were trying to correct January, February, March on our response times. We're still working with county communications on that. They're the holders of the information. We contract with them for dispatch services. Their numbers are a little skewed, but they did work into providing me at least April's information, so which is a little bit better than what we had in January, February, February, and March. As you recall, during last time, we had almost like 24 priority 1 calls in January and like 15 in February, and that seemed really unusual. So when I checked with county communications, they did clarify that some of these were mistagged. I'll give you an example. If a person was involved in a fender bender, an accident, just no property damage, just property damage, fender bender, and they would call 911. And they got sidetracked and then hung up, or then tried calling 911 again, or somebody else tried calling 911 in that same area. For some reason, it would classify the call as a 911 unknown, which is a priority 1 call. But then they got a hold of the person and say, hey, I've been involved in an accident. No one's hurt. Can you please just send a police officer out here? And so it was classified as a 911 unknown, making a priority one call, but the deputy thinks he's responding to an accident with no injuries. Getting there 10 minutes later, 10-minute response time on a priority one call was a no-no, you know? So they're trying to change some of these types and they're having problems changing the call types. But we've heard that they're fixing that now, so we're right there in April, at least they fixed this portion, so we should have, by next time, we should have the numbers for January, February, March, so I apologize for that right now. And then just going off of our crime statistics, as you can see, back in April, we did have a robbery. We were successful in arresting the individual who committed that robbery. You might have seen it in social media. He went into a massage parlor, posed as a police officer. Detectives tracked him. They were following him to different counties. They eventually did a search warrant on him and they did arrest him with the materials that he committed the robbery with, the vest, the police tack vest and everything. We put that all on social media. So it was a really good arrest by detectives. We've had 6 and 2 residential burglaries in March and April, 4 and 3 commercial burglaries. Numbers are looking better than they were last year, especially with residential burglaries. You know, and I hope they would keep staying that way. So that's good. We're you know, we don't want to hit that 102 like we did last year. So burglary burglaries are still, you know, occurring from vehicles again, you know, and they're actually occurring in like mass areas. So if we get hit with like 3 here, Sunnyvale will get hit with like 4. So it seems like it's a group of people and else going out bringing the cars. And if you keep going down, let's see, and that's pretty much it for the rest of the stats are pretty much on par for everything else. And again, we're still having travel issues with our accidents and citation system. So it's just been a nightmare dealing with systems that don't talk to each other. So hopefully by the next time we'll have some more information. I hope so, fingers crossed. So, but I'd be happy to answer any questions and regarding any of this crime stats.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One is the contract negotiations are still in progress, so is there any impact to operations?
What's that?
Is there any impact to day-to-day operations?
No, I mean, the deputies are kind of autonomous to do what they need to be doing. The detectives are supposed to be doing what they're doing. The negotiations are more between myself, my assistant sheriff, the sheriff, our CEO's office from the county, and their finance people from the CEO's office and direct city staff, which includes the city manager, and sometimes the mayor of the city. You may have seen the little town hall that they had the other day with James Williams and the sheriff there to answer any questions about the contract. It's just trying to get a resolution between the, not only the sheriff's office in Cupertino, but the sheriff's office in Saratoga, the sheriff's office in Los Altos, and the county of Santa Clara, so.
Second question, any update or change for the LPR issue? We talked last time.
No, the last thing we had was the board of supervisors, because of issues that they believe the flock is having nationwide, they just don't want to be partnership with flock. We have been in communications with Axon, which is another ALPR vendor, and a couple other ones. We've interviewed probably 4 or 5 of them. Just trying to get a good vendor. Axon seems to be the most reasonable one, since we already have a contract with Axon for our body worn cameras and for our vehicle cameras. But we're not to the state yet where we're gonna start pulling the trigger on ALPR or push that without first having a contract in place that we are gonna be doing the police services. So it wouldn't make sense to put that before this, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, no questions from my end.
All right, thank you.
Public comment?
Oh, yeah, public comment.
We have no speakers. Chair.
So for the fire department, we have an ever evolving new format. So it's in the form of a newsletter and the data is pushed in. I actually like this iteration. the metrics and the stats a little bit better. You'll see those in a second. First, on the first page, essentially, some of the highlights that we have, I just go ahead and just say some of them are specific to county fire staff. Basically, I'd like to make sure the messaging is clear that so those successes and those careers that continue to evolve and the success of Cupertino and Shannon as well as the fire department. And so it's one of those things that we like to try to share. So with my continued commitment and development of our staff to eventually take command, be leaders in the future. So for succession planning and others, these are important. These promotional ceremonies are important components of what's going on at county fire. So with wildfire preparedness workshops, I'll just draw your attention to the dates that are coming up in Saratoga. So there's in proximity, that is actually a really easy one for folks in Cupertino to catch, but there will be one here in the community hall in Cupertino on Wednesday, July 15th. So 2 opportunities, one in June, one in July, that are close. Those are coming up. And so anytime, this would also potentially be a great venue, and you should expect to see this type of information at pushes. So you'll see a lot of the same things, but it is always a relevant story to tell, especially when our numbers are a little low. Working to make sure that people not only understand it, but they understand what to do and when to do it. So pay attention and let's get out there and get folks. So that would be a great thing. Encourage people to get out to either one of these or both because we will be there. Just education, but a lot of the other resources that are available for that as homeowners information. And then also we'll just be there to answer questions for them as well. Second page, Saturday April 4th, the fire, essentially it was a residential structure that did displace a couple of folks, a couple of families. The second alarm was called on it in the side of the structure and the number of people that were expected to be impacted by it. They did get an all clear, meaning there were no people successfully evacuated the structure on just the initial arrival of the engine company or the first engine company. And so there was a building was the exterior and then an adjacent storage shed that was involved. So there were no actual reported injuries for civilians and or firefighters. So that is one incident that occurred in Cupertino that was relevant. And we're down once again, listening for the dates of the wildfire. Now we're at the City of Cupertino Public Safety Report stats. This one is fairly similar. No surprises there. Most of our calls are medical. Sure. There are breakdowns. Some of the things that could also be considered usually have a medical component of the rescues, and sometimes the service calls during the fire season include things like smoke in the area, or they might be like this structure fire, and it might have been 2 or 3 blocks away. Somebody might have reported because they just 3 blocks away there the fire, smoke in the area or something. So they might have called or submitted a request for somebody to come in and take a look at something. Water problems, all of those types of things are also included. And then you'll start seeing vegetation fires. Vegetation fires included with structure fires, and those numbers will start to increase as we move into fire season. The incident that is listed under significant is the one I just spoke about. And the community education events. Keep in mind the preschools, elementary schools, middle schools are basically usually assemblies or classrooms or groups of classrooms. So that's why the numbers look so big. So it might be a single event or just a few events that actually were for a large number of students, especially with the elementary and they get the entire class that we get all and about fire safety. Adults, these are adult programs that are actually focusing on some things like fall prevention or some other types of things that usually will target some of our senior members of the community. And then, the, CPR and first aid hands-on, hands-only CPR and cars. These are actually classes that you can go and take. So if you get a hold of us on our website, you can go through them, right? And you can actually say, I'd like to come in. There are basically office hours. So if you know of a group or somebody that needs to get it for, maybe during a program, like be an EMT or something, and they need to get this kind of training, they can always come to us. Somebody there, they should be able to get it in a really short time frame. Station tours are starting to pick up. That's actually a really good thing. The community events. There was a bit of a lag. I will say it was a while before community members, families, whoever could just pop back into a fire station. We're glad to say it looks like we're back on track. Next station. This was an interesting one. I like the way it's presented because that line, that hard line basically gives you the baseline. What this also does is it gives you average times. As you can see here, you're going to see an extraordinary impact of a single event on, if you look to the far right, the total reflex time. That's actually represented by one incident that was way out in the sticks. So it just happened to be that that outlier creates what looks like an anomaly. Yes, it is, but it's not a problem because it was one call. So if you want to take a closer look, call processing time in that continuum is that time that it takes for calls to come in up to the point where it gets the engine or the truck gets dispatched. So they get dispatched early on, but they're still taking information. As long as they know what kind of call it is, then they know that they're sending the right unit with the right resources and skill set to go over that event and handle it. The turnout time is the notification, so the ring that happens at the station and the time that you actually get in the ring and the ring starts rolling. That's the turnout time. So those are, there's a little overlap, but they are sequential. And then the last is the total reflex time. So that's the time that it takes to also get there. So keeping in mind that the total reflex time average is everything together. It is rural and urban. Urban is anything with 1,000 people or more in a square mile. And then as you start getting, we have both. So then you start getting out further out there. That's where the rules. There is a mix. There's a wide. Getting very pretty close to the edge on the rule. We have a lot of what we call the intermix, a lot of houses mixed in with vegetation and near some parks and things like that. And then you get the folks who are way out there where you have 10, 20 acre lots, or even bigger ranches, things like that. So very, very few people for that density. So average time for apparatus responding to medical emergencies. Mainly because this is the lion's share of what we're doing. If you take a look at that threshold line, you see that we are actually doing very well overall in all aspects of that. So the 12-month rolling average and the current monthly average. So we've been turning out real well lately. So, I do not have any information on why, but it could be that the crews are not even out of the house doing as much training, or they might just have had a month where they were in ideal locations in order to basically promote a quick turnout time and a good flex time. So number of incidents by type. Once again, this reflects pretty much our standards that we normally see. A total of 1,800 calls for the month of April, which is respectable. The structure fire or other type, only one or two that actually made it to a level where I'd say it was really good working fire, and by failure just being advanced, or it had, there was a lot of work. And then the others would be smaller vegetation or exterior fires or extinguished fires or food on the stove. Those are the types of things that come in on that. So you still want a fire group because those ones can start, they can hide in attics or flues or other spaces, and those are the reasons we want to go there. But still treat them exactly the same. So they are effectively a structure fire. And they come in with the same exact methodologies and SOPs, operating procedures to address them. And then I thought this was the number of incidents year to date. You can see that we've actually passed. And so we're past COVID. We're back on track for our normal. So I would say that, at this point, you'll start seeing these numbers continue to, increase, 2 to 3% a year. And you should, expect to see that type of continued, growth, in call volume. Especially as you start seeing more housing, the urban or higher density housing converting neighborhoods into, basically those that have multi-unit, multi-residential structures. You see a lot of those happening now. So, this is the path and the direction we are going in, and we are currently still able to, respond and, based on the stats that we have, we're still doing well on response. And those two things we put together, very closely to make sure that, we do have sufficient resources or to meet the. Once again, we have 3 stations in Cupertino that are actually in Cupertino. And some special units, so, we're getting to summer. This is a very important message. I'm really liking what they're doing with this last page because they're very relevant, they're relevant for the time. This is a great one to amplify, pool safety. There's really no other way to say it. These are tragic events. This should never ever happen. Should that, this doesn't happen. Unfortunate incidents with children around pools. So educating those folks that are, not just people that have, but those people that, are in childcare and have, kids, small ones around and, neighborhoods that happen. You see a lot of times kids will jump fences and do other things. So the pool safety is a really thing. So not just, the preventative, but CPR. So there's a nexus there. So to it, it's that, when there's an accident or there's an event, and that CPR is actually that could, that's by just about by anyone, and it makes a huge difference, especially if it's done very, very early. So, I'll close there. If you have any questions?
Yeah, great report, a lot of slides and data with trends.
It's easy to speak to it. I like this, like the direction we're going, so I hope it was relevant for you.
Yeah. What is the service incidents? I think you explained, I forgot. There was a service incidents category, may I know what it is?
So service calls are basically anything that falls into like that junk drawer where there isn't a specific type of thing. I am, I have my water line broke and my kitchen's flooding. There's a weird smell in my neighborhood. It's not in my house, but I can't tell you what it smells like, but it just smells like there's something wrong. We'll drive around the neighborhood. There's a light haze. I see smoke because I'm driving down the freeway, and it looks like it's over there by Apple. The orchard over there could be fog, Thule fog, things like that used to happen. So people will call in anything and everything, very, very vague sometimes. Or there could be one that is probably going to be more common that it and can't. Sometimes they'll have cooking fires and other things, and it'll create a bit of a nuisance, and people will want someone to go out there and tell them, hey, it needs to be extinguished because it's maybe plastics burning or something. So it could be just about anything from I need help doing something at my house, or there's something I'm worried about. So the service call is kind of like the catch-all.
Thank you.
And I will, every single call that comes in, somebody rolls out there and takes a look.
That's great. Yeah, I recently know there was like in the YMCA, I complained about a smell, increased smell because of that. They have propane tank to heat the pool. So it was pretty strong. So when I reported, they called obviously fire department to make sure.
They take care of it?
Yeah, I believe so. I think they certified that there is nothing wrong.
Oh.
The smell, okay, the solution is open the doors.
Sometimes the answer is we weren't able to locate. That was it.
I mean, in that case, I think if there is no fault, faulty equipment or anything, they have to ventilate more often was the solution.
And I think that there is this, so that there is another thing as far as the communication that somebody is actually paying attention and somebody which is enough to dissuade behavior. So maybe you didn't necessarily find the person doing something that you think likely they were actually doing this. They just didn't happen to be doing it while we got there. The fact that we show up, we have a brief discussion with them, with their understanding that these are the types of things that cannot happen in the neighborhood. That usually does solve most of our problems. So with that. And the report.
Thanks so much for the reporting. Any public comment?
We have no speakers, Chair.
With that, we can move on to staff and commission reports.
This one should be fairly quick. Or not.
Nailed it.
I love living in Silicon Valley. So good at tech. Okay. Okay. So some recent volunteer activities. There was a search and rescue training with Citizen Corps on. And Medical Reserve Corps was at the Cherry Blossom Festival to run the first aid booth. That's pretty standard. Any city event. We usually have Citizen Corps, usually Medical Corps running the first aid booth. There was also a volunteer CPR and aid thing last week. And earlier this week, there was a first aid and triage refresher for volunteers. There will be a damage assessment training. And then there will be a Citizen Corps exercise, I believe at City Hall on 30th.
If I may, I can speak to that, finish.
There are 2 personal emergency preparedness trainings. One is tonight. The next one will be Saturday, June 20th at City Hall. And this is a Eventbrite registration that I can send out. Staff activities, there was a block leader meeting on the 15th that was focused mostly on sustainability. Although I did promote Alert SCC and they handed out some of the cards. We also had a couple neighborhood watch presentation, a Build-A-Kit event. I am right now mostly focused on getting ready for a national night out. We just released the registration form and we've already got a couple people signed up. I think we're at about 10 already. And then the City Hall Great Shakeout Drill. Just taking a second to make sure that the old plan works. And then I'll work on that a little bit more as we get closer to October. This is kind of a repeat. But we are looking at program promotion for Alert SCC and Genesis. And as a reminder, we will be having a wildfire preparedness workshop July 15th at Community Hall. That is also, I believe, an Eventbrite registration that you can find on Fire's website. That is, this is an event put on by Fire, not by City OEM. The last thing, I got this update after I submitted the presentation. So you may have heard about the cruise ship with the hantavirus. There is one person from the ship who is in Santa Clara County. They are being monitored at home. They are showing no symptoms. Everyone who was symptomatic is being kept is maybe not the right word, but they're at a facility, I believe in Nebraska. So if this person does show any symptoms, they will be going to that facility, but from contact tracing, from monitoring, they are not showing any symptoms and they are reporting that they are feeling well. And the public health department has designated this a low risk for the county. If that changes, I will let you know.
And if I may, just to give more details on the May 30th event, it's 2 weeks from Saturday. It combines CARES and CERT and MRC. We're going to have a mock event. There's going to be search and rescue in the neighborhood, as well as search and rescue in City Hall itself. So we'll be combining all three areas of emergency preparedness. And I'm not sure if fire is going to be showing up. I'm not sure. I don't know if
From my understanding, it's citizen or
strictly citizen core. Fair. Fair. Yeah, and it's from 8:30, 8 to 1:30. And after that, there's a used books sale at the community hall, so you can go grab some books. Put in a plug for them to look for your nice glasses. Sorry. Thank you.
Right, yeah, no other reports, future agenda setting. So I guess like I think like one item that would be good to have is like probably like an update on like the state of the Alert SEC and Genesis outreach, like hopefully by then we have some progress to show. I think that would be one. Does there need to be a motion to add it to the agenda or just like?
you're the chair, so you can unilaterally.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, that would be one. And then the other one was the one that you were discussing, like receiving materials from sheriff's office to share, like on AI safety, essentially.
Right.
Anything else?
May I ask, so in light of the upcoming May 30th event, I want to give like a short presentation, if I may, about when, if giant earthquake occurs, what we as Citizen Corps would be doing to help to support the citizens, because emergency personnel will certainly be overwhelmed with, and so it'll kind of fall to us to take care of things. So I'd like to present something on, how we can be better prepared and or the process that we have set up.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, we can have an item on Citizen Corps', I guess, scope and responsibilities in the event of earthquakes. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm adjourning the meeting at 8:08.